Here he is, Snow, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. I'm not going to be in control of the observing during this series. There's still a little bit hesitant to share replays with outsiders, so everything has been pre-recorded, and we're just gonna go right on in with Royal down here in the bottom right. Now, I haven't seen much Snow recently. He hasn't been playing too much on the ladder, and he's been kind of quiet for a while. However, you know, he's got kids. He has some young ones in the family he needs to take care of. It's understandable not to be streaming as much as he normally would, as some of these other players like Speed, who really don't have those familial commitments. But this is still his job. He still needs to bring it when the chips are down. When money's on the line, and money is on the line here, I will get more information about this tournament coming up in the future. I'll be able to let you guys know what the prize pool is and stuff like that. But I don't have all of that information just yet. We had a bit of a hard time scheduling this event, and Soup was very particular about the times and when we could stream, so all of that kind of took precedence over finding out all the information, but that will come, guys. Again, 20 episodes a month, so this is going to be an ongoing series, and I hope it goes for many years into the future. That is my wish. That is my dream, and you guys are going to help me to get there. So we've got Snow coming in with that first scout, getting a little bit lucky here. He sent his probe down to the bottom right, whereas Royal's scouted in the wrong direction. He's going to turn that SCV now down towards bottom left and get the full scout. Pretty good control so far. Not even going to take any damage on that Marine. Hasn't really slowed down the factory at all either. And so Royal sending his SCV, tries to get in there, but Snow too quick on the draw. Able to block that SCV out of the base, but with the threat of chasing down that worker, SCV is just going to have to turn around and head back. Already has his range on the way. Snow not opting to go for a very quick robo. Skipping range is kind of trendy these days, but it can be very risky. If you're able to skip range, you could get the Reaver in just that little bit quicker, just before the turrets or before there's extra tanks popping out to deal with that. First Dragoon here just getting the shields shaved off, but backing up in time not to take too much damage. Still looking for a little bit more pressure, trying to kill off a Marine or two. He hasn't been able to force the bunker out, though. Actually, there might be one being made now from Royal, and he slips out the Vulture as well. There's that robotics facility. Yeah, bunker in that natural has been forced. Royal would love to skip that, but with the pressure coming from the Dragoon, eventually those Marines will end up dying. You have to get the bunker to keep them alive, and we'll be able to do that with the repair. Now, looking at the map and the positioning here, I would have thought that getting a very early Reaver would be extremely powerful. On this map, you're so close to your opponent's natural. From your own natural to a really short rush distance. But Snow doesn't think so. He's going to go for his more normal timing. Get that Reaver out. And just the power of the Snow Reaver. We've talked about it so much on the channel in the past. It cannot be underestimated. Now, Roll's going to come across and try to put on some pressure. This is, I think, mostly just to throw down mines in front of the natural. He wants to push the Dragoons off the map, get these mines out. If he commits too heavily with this tank, he will end up losing it. So he gets the mines down. He's not going to come over towards this natural. Robotic support bay finishing up. There should be a shuttle about to pop. There it is. Now the Reaver going to be on the way. Behind this, Royal. What does he have in his base? I only see one factory. Is that correct? Only one factory, yes, and gone into an armory. This is kind of ballsy for Royal. He's only going to have the one tank, maybe a second tank just about to pop out. A few mines and vultures to try and hold this shuttle. Royal has destroyed much stronger, more well-defended positions with his Reaver control, but doesn't have that Reaver out just yet. Getting some scouting information there with the shuttle. Flies over, and now he's going to fly back, pick up that Reaver. I don't know if he has 2 Zealots for the shuttle as well. I actually didn't see him produce any Zealots. So instead, a Dragoon is going to get lifted up. He's sending that into the natural in a moment. This position is looking a lot more well defended now. Royal has the mines. He's got a turret ready with the floating buildings to spot this shuttle as it comes in. Gonna rotate around the bunker. Doesn't want to take any unnecessary damage on the shuttle before he decides to dive in. Looking for a weak point, and he may have been able to find it, but these mines are so well placed. Anywhere he's gonna land, which really gives him any sort of a chance of dealing damage, is going to be blocked by the... Oh gosh, he gets 2 vultures. That was just perfectly out of range. He has no idea that the mine is there, but he drops perfectly out of range and gets 2 vultures. Of course, those vultures are not particularly important. They've already laid their mines. And simply keeping this shuttle out of his main base, I think that's definitely worth the loss of 2 vultures. And now that siege mode is done, 3 tanks are here in the main base. It's looking less and less likely that Snow will get any damage. Feels like Royal has prepared very well for the pressure, the Reaver pressure coming out of Snow, but it's not over. There's still opportunities to dive in, and also we could end up seeing the Reavers be just brought back and used as a delay tactic. Yeah, he sees the turrets there. Not a chance that he's going to try and fly over that. It would be a suicide mission for the shuttle. And he wants to keep those Reavers alive for that later push that's going to be coming out of Royal soon. I'm going to head back now. Go pick up that second Reaver. Ferry it over towards this natural so that he can slow down whatever push out Royal has. Got a good chunk of tanks. He has added up to 5 factories. And we'll see if that means that he wants to push, or rather he just wants to move out and try to take that 3rd base. Depends, of course, on the game situation, but in the modern era, 5 factory is much less of an all-in, more of a stepping stone towards a 3rd base, allowing you to get the critical mass of tanks and vultures out to be able to fight the Protoss army. Oh my gosh, the Reaver gets targeted directly, and Snow loses his first Reaver immediately at the beginning of this engagement. That is unbelievable to me. Royal pushing forward now, everything unsieged and just going for it. SCVs have been brought along with this army. Some Zealots pop out. They're gonna die almost immediately. Now it's pure Dragoon versus tank Vulture, and the tanks are cleaning up everything. He's being so aggressive. Royal just shoving forward and continuing to rally everything. Now, if that Reaver had gotten some good shots off and stayed alive in the shuttle, I think we would have seen Royal back up and try to take a 3rd base, but there's no reason for him to retreat at this moment. He's got the Reaver. Oh gosh. Oh gosh, these Zealots getting right up on top of everything. Now it's getting really bad. Oh my goodness. That siege was very late from Royal. He wanted to move forward all at the same time. And the rally of Zealots came out at the perfect moment to shut that down. Look at how one-sided that fight was in comparison to the previous. The setup being incredibly efficient there for Snow. And he wipes out that army. He keeps his Reaver alive as well. Big mistake there from Royal, who's maybe trying to finish the game a little bit too quickly. Now, he is still going to push back these Dragoons. He managed to get a few extra kills there on the exit. But is he going to try and push the issue from here? Doesn't really have any anti-air. I don't think he can rely on being able to kill that Reaver once again in a similar fashion as he did earlier. And like I was trying to say there before the action picked up so much, had that Reaver done some damage, the initial Reaver done some damage to the army and stayed alive, I think we would have seen Royal just back up and take that third base. Now he's thinking about that option once again after making a big mistake. There might be time to fall back on a third. He has a starport on the way, so he will be eventually getting into his further upgrades. Double Zealot in that shuttle as well. He's ready to bomb some tanks. Should they attempt to push forward too quickly, Royal is waiting for more rallies. So his army is big enough to take that third. I don't see a CC being made just yet, but it might be that big blob of blue in the main base. Meanwhile, Snow is going to move towards taking this base in the top left. He gets the Nexus just barely before this Vulture arrives. That is a very important interaction there. Snow, had that been delayed by the probe kill, would have had his fourth slowed down significantly, but now we'll be able to set up that pylon wall and move into a fourth. We are going to get into a pretty big game. Ooh, a drop making its way over. But 2 cannons in the natural is kind of wild. Well, just fly right over it. Main base doesn't have any cannons, and there could be a massive loss of probes here. Set up some mines and just kill that cannon immediately. Doesn't really get any probes so far. And it looks like the Zealots will just clean this up. Just gonna pick up 2 of those Vultures and move over towards that third. Try to create a distraction while he's pushing out this direction. Possibly this tank gonna go down. No, it actually manages to survive. Cannon over at the third will buy that time. And in fact, is going to be able to kill, I think, both of the Vultures. So it was really close. But the cannon does survive. It does win the day. And Royal's distraction tactic really hasn't bought him too much. Would have liked to push forward and maybe kill this Reaver and open up the spot to taking that third base. But instead, he's now in kind of an awkward position where he's in between upgrades. He's got upgrades on the way. Possibly that +2 upgrade on the way. It's not quite there yet. And he doesn't have the third base. We're 14 minutes in, guys, and there's no third base. That is a desperate situation for a Terran player. And I think Snow is getting closer and closer to closing this one out. It was looking scary there during the initial push from Snow, but a huge mistake from Royal ended up costing him big time. This might be another big mistake. Look at how tightly clumped these tanks are. The storm landing on top of all of that. Follow-up storm's gonna clear out so many tanks. That was like 5 tanks underneath that one single storm. Royal biting the bullet here. Clumping his tanks way too much during both of those 2 engages when he lost. Otherwise, he was doing fantastic. But that's the way that Protoss versus Terran is. You can take a lot of good trades, but that was a great mine. If you mess up one big engagement, It could just be disastrous for the Terran. He's moving out on the map. This is a last-ditch effort, I would say, from Royal. He's 30 supply behind. Still doesn't have anti-air. They got 4 tanks in the middle of the map. He's trying to move up towards that top left base. He is going to start to back away now. He starts a turret and then leaves the position. You can see he's just a little bit discombobulated right now. Like, what is this turret being made for exactly? But he's struggling to find any sort of position, any sort of direction in this game. The flow and the plan, the game plan that he came into it with is just gone. It's not there anymore. A third CC finally gonna float out. We're having a 16-minute third CC landing. And I think that basically tells the story of this game. You don't really need to know more than that. The CC is so incredibly late. Oh, looks like we had another good mine connection there. Killing off a few more Dragoons. And possibly the tanks have returned home. Yeah, some of the tanks, I think, did return home. Were not killed off in the middle of the map, so that's something at least. That is something for the Terran to be said about a Terran position, but Snow is taking another quadrant of the map. He's got that base over there in top left. He can basically do anything at this point. He can do whatever he wants. He's gonna decide to dive in with some shuttles, possibly. Try to kill a bunch of SCVs. Oh, the mine connection. Not quite there. This big Reaver shot. Oh my gosh. Huge Reaver hit. Dealing so much damage. Great D-Matrix, actually, to keep that tank alive. It actually allowed the tank to survive 2 hits from that Reaver. So, Reaver looking for some more damage. Can he get a big shot on some of these SCVs? Another great hit there. Oh my gosh, so many SCVs are coming back. Oh, Royal. I think he's making scarabs. Oh, the shots are not coming out as quickly. Pushing in towards this natural. Big storm on a lot of these vultures. The tank number is just too low. Every trade is going to be bad for Royal when he has so few tanks in his army. There's a big blob of red heading towards the south. So, oh gosh, there's a bunch of Dragoons over here as well. He's basically holding Royal's main army with his rally. And the rest of his army is sitting out somewhere in the map. Not really doing anything, but could come to bear here in a moment as Snow brings all of his forces together. Yeah, this is just the rallies. These are just the rallies that are coming out and absolutely destroying Royal. And there goes the last of his army. Snow still has the main force of his army that's just returned here to his natural, plus these Dragoons over here. And GG is called. Snow gonna go up 1-0 over Royal. Here's our map list. Radion, Pantheon, Kickback, Deja Vu, Dominator, Minstrel. A lot of good maps here. I'm really loving the new... Oh, but I don't like Monty Hall so much. It is fun to watch, but it's funny that that made it into the map pool. I would assume that were there vetoes, both players would probably veto that map. But it would be interesting if we went all the way to best of 7, the end of the series, and got a Monty Hall map. I'm gonna check the chat while we're between games here. Dark Lightning, thanks for joining up. Love Snow. Appreciate you, man. Got 26 views here. 2 likes, guys. Only 2 likes. Come on. Let's bump those numbers up. Here we go into game number 2. Royal spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, looking for some revenge. But his main enemy is himself, I think, in this series so far. Game number 1. He was struggling to spread his tanks and to take good engagements. I think he got a little bit too excited, really, and I can definitely relate. If you're a Broodwar player, you know the feeling. You're like, oh my god, my push is working. Let's go. Get the kill. We got this. And you push forward a little bit too eagerly. And one bad siege as a Terran player can absolutely ruin your push. You can get completely broken. And I think that's what we just saw. We're going to have to put that one to the side. Put that out of his mind. Get his head in the game here. Money is on the line. And he's down 1-0 to Snow. That's a tough situation to be in. Mentally. And just in terms of his odds of winning this. I would say most players, most people, viewers included, would put Snow at an advantage in this matchup in general, but also against Royal. And so the chances of a Royal victory are already a little low. More so after that first loss, but I gotta say he was looking good until that first mistake was made. Can he put the pieces together and bring us a victory in game number 2? Royal opening again with his early gas. Didn't see the exact timing on that gas, but he's going to be getting out a fast factory. See if it's around that 3-minute mark. 2-minute 30. Okay. Haven't been a Terran player for many years, guys, but I did watch that recent video from Artosis where he was trying to perfect his 230 factory, so I should have remembered that. Snow not barely able to see that SCV as it's coming up into top left. Kind of an N scout. I guess it's like a Z scout here. He goes to the nearest position Royal does and then goes across map. And he's going to find Snow over there in top left. Now Snow knows his location. So he's going to send his probe down to bottom left. Didn't see the Dragoon, but you should know there's no Zealot at this point. Dragoon is heading his way. It's actually going to catch this SCV, possibly. Range is not there, but he gets one shot. He gets two, and he kills that SCV. Good pick up there for Snow as he pushes forward. Should be a Vulture out here just in a moment. Going to utilize the health of these Marines to tank some Dragoon damage. Try to delay that bunker by a little bit. Look at this. He went for an add-on. Okay, he did get the Vulture first. Okay. I didn't see the Vulture initially. I thought he skipped Vulture right into add-on, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but in fact, he did get that Vulture and will be able to push this back so that the Vulture can slip out undeterred, undamaged. Bunker in the natural Royal. Hitting his stride. Once again, range and a robo coming up. So almost identical build to what we saw in game number 1 on either side. This time we're on Pantheon, a little bit of a different map. Got those funny ridges leading into your natural. Kind of a high ground at the peak of that. Almost like a pyramid of a high ground. But it does block vision, and it can cause mischance if you're standing at the very top of that ramp. It's just not as powerful, though, as sitting on a real high ground. If your main is on a real high ground, it's a lot easier to hold your natural, for instance. It's a lot harder for the Protoss player to break you. But here comes Royal once again with the early 1 tank, 3 Marine push across the map. He's going to move forward and try to put these mines as close to his opponent as possible. Gotta be very careful with a move like this. If there's too many Dragoons out and they dive on that tank, you're falling further and further behind. As the Reaver comes in, you're not going to have that extra DPS to try and gun down that tank. And so He really does need to be careful pushing forward like this. He will, in fact, retreat back home, only laying mines just outside of Snow's vision range. Not going to be able to block the third or anything like that. Snow actually moving a probe over here already in preparation for taking that third base. He's got a good spread of Dragoons everywhere. He's prevented mines from going down anywhere near him, but Royal's going to push along this vertical axis, and this is a push that I've seen so many times. Coming along this very tight corridor and trying to utilize that against Protoss, it's extremely common. We see it all the time, and it's super powerful. Well, let's see if he's able to block these Dragoons. He's doing a pretty good job with the Marines getting in front of the Dragoons, and a lot of these are falling, actually. Wow, 5 Dragoons go down so fast. These Marines adding a lot of DPS into this fight, and now a tank can be pulled forward. More tanks are on the way, with 5 Dragoons going down already and only 1 tank. Only 1 tank has gone down. That is amazing. Thank you so much for the subs. Guys, if you're watching this on YouTube later, I want to let you know that this is live on Soup. And all of your donations and support is super appreciated. Thank you so much, man. As Royal pushes in here, he's getting the mine set up right in the front. That bunker is so good. And as long as he can move 1 unit, just slide 1 vulture along the bottom side. Here he goes. He's going to get over here. Now he can see the mineral line. Very important that Snow snipes that. He does go for it. The tank there on the left-hand side can actually hit the mineral line if there's just 1 unit over in that location. Moving some more tanks forward. He's being a lot more careful in how he approaches this one. The mine is actually revealing the probes now, and he can hit that. Mine does not have much vision, but it's got enough at least to hit that 1 patch of mining. And there's 3 probes over there. Is he gonna shoot it? No. He hits the Nexus instead, which is actually putting a lot of pressure onto Snow. He has to break this before the Nexus dies, or he will be out of this game 100%. He's got 800 minerals in the bank. He's struggling to produce anything because he's supply blocked. 3 pylons start in that main base. His wall was killed, so he can hardly make anything at this moment. I'm gonna send 1 desperate shuttle across the map, see if he can do insane damage in the Terran's main while all this is going on. He's gonna drop DTs on top of everything. Wait, what? DTs? Going for the turret. Can he actually get it? The repair is pretty good, and he's body blocking the DTs. The DTs get bugged out, and all the DTs die. Very good defense there from Royal. Even with the DTs dropped directly on top of those turrets. Still not able to kill the turret in time. Snow taps out, and Royal fires back, bringing this to a 1-1 series. Kickback is our next map in the Soup Duel Series. First game, the inaugural game here. Thank you guys so much for joining me, whether you're on YouTube or on Soup. It's very much appreciated. And I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the chat now from the Soup live stream. So we've got here Snow fighting. Let's go Royal. We've got some support for either player. As we're jumping into this next game, who will take the very first series of the Duel Series? The very first win here. It's a neck and neck. I think that last map was a very fortunate spawn from Royal. The way that he was angled towards the Protoss player, he was able to utilize that vertical axis very well to push down the natural, and it's super hard to dislodge a Terran player once they're in that position. So making use of the map. It's on Snow though for not realizing that that was the intent of Royal. Maybe getting some units down there to slow that push down. Try to frustrate his efforts from getting into that really nice position. It would have been a good idea, but Snow, he's going to put that to the side. It's time for Kickback, which is quite a wild map. Looks like he's going to Nexus first on it as well. This is a very macro-centric map where you have 2 bases inside of your own main. Up here on the high ground to the north, and one over to the east of Snow's base. They do have reduced mineral fields, though, only 1,200 at each patch. And reduced gas geysers as well. So they mine out very quickly, but they'll provide a lot of income to this Nexus first player. He only drops 1 gateway. Snow getting a little greedy with this opener now. It's not crazy greed if you go for Nexus into double gateway, but single gateway is another thing altogether. He's really going to be hoping that Royal won't pull the trigger on some sort of bunker rush, or hasn't gone for really fast factory. And in fact, Royal is opting for a gasless fast expand. He's thrown down that CC on high ground just now, so it's the Battle of the Greed. And is this a second gateway? Yes, it is. So he actually went for the more conservative build with the second gateway coming up a little bit after. Oh my gosh, what is this? Oh, the SCVs are getting so stuck. All right, taking the long route, taking the scenic route in order to get over here towards this Protoss base. I can't believe he's doing this with a CC behind it. He doesn't have a factory coming at all. He's just pulling Marines, and there should be Zealots out here in a moment. Maybe he skipped Zealot, and that's the reason why. Yeah, I don't see a Zealot out here just yet. Okay, there's the Zealot, but it feels quite late. He's had that gateway for a long time, so maybe getting a little bit of extra greed going there. Snow didn't start his Zealot. Wanted to skip straight on into Dragoons, and Royal wants to punish that. Oh, he's getting the surround, but the bunker finishes up just in the nick of time. As that surround happens, able to hop into that bunker. Now going to start bunker pushing his way forward. It's getting a little scary. That's quite a few Marines, and SCVs here are very beefy, ready to body block the Zealot away from these units. Some Dragoons are about to pop. There they are. Dragoons pop out. They try to take a shot, but kind of whiffs his attack there. Gonna push another bunker forward. These Dragoons can hit the bunker without the Marines inside the other bunker hitting them. And so he's really trying to get in range of this Nexus, but he's not going to be able to. Starts another bunker here on the left. He wants to get into range of the gateways, alternatively. He has his gas started, but hasn't mined any gas so far. Royal really needs to get a little bit more damage than this. He gets the gas geyser at least, but another one will start over at that natural. I think the steam is starting to run out for Royal. Not sure if range is on the way, but if it is, Royal's going to be in a lot of trouble. No, it's not. Range is not on the way. He needs to wait a bit for the gas mining to get rolling once again. Until then, these bunkers are going to be a real issue. It's preventing him from building much in his own base. And he can't take his gas at the main either. He's going to mine this second gas a lot more. That means that gas will run out much faster. I'm not sure if that'll come into play this game, as Royal is already pretty darn far behind. He's having a hard time. but it may end up becoming a factor a little bit later. If we manage to make it into that mid-game, that gas geyser on high ground is going to mine out super quick. Only about 3,000 gas in there. And so even in the case where you take the gas at the normal timing, you take a second gas after your first gas has already been mining for a long time. Usually the second gas will mine out first. In this case, it's going to mine out very, very quickly. And Royal checking the map. He's looking around. He wants to see, okay, did you take a hidden base or something? What's going on? But in fact, it's just a bunch of zealots have been made, and he's ready to bust this bunker now without range at all. Just going to go for the kill on the bunker. Gonna have to target down some of these SCVs as he breaks through. Well, the zealots end up dying, but overall, a pretty decent bust here from Snow. He's got the right mass of units. Go ahead and here and push out. Okay, maybe actually Royal gonna take a hidden base. That's a little bit interesting because what is the purpose of taking a hidden base? You have another base inside your main. Could easily take the base to the west of his main and hold that down instead. A lot of SCVs have been pulled. He really wants to make sure that he has the full surround on this bunker, as a tank isn't even out here at the 7-minute mark. Still waiting on a tank. There it is. Can make its way up to the front. Oh, he's actually going to put it on high ground and just siege it. Not a bad idea. Going to be very hard to target that down in the case that he actually wants to try and bust this. As long as the tank is targeted on the Dragoons, I don't think Snow will have much luck with trying to break the natural. SCVs. A lot of them have been lost, and now only 37 remain to the 40 probes of Snow. A third Nexus begins, and a CC at 12. This is some dirty stuff, but look at Snow sending out scouts everywhere. Oh, I think he's gonna find this, guys. We got a scout heading up to top left, and a scout heading over to top right. It's actually Snow wanting to take another base over in top left. But this probe, I don't think this one is actually meant to build a base. This is a scouting probe. Wants to make sure that he understands the game state and where Royal is at. Very important that he doesn't overestimate his position in this game. And so... Wait, what is this probe doing? It's not scouting. Oh my gosh, this Zealot. This Zealot is so close. Oh, if Royal comes back in this game and ends up winning, Snow is going to beat himself. Oh, wait, he does. He sees it. He sees it. The Zealot scouts 12 o'clock. That CC will lift. The jig is up. And only about, what, 20 minerals were mined from that location? He mined with one SCV for about 30 seconds. Definitely not worth. And this puts Royal even further behind. His gamble of taking the top center not working out in the slightest. Snow is in full control of this game. I think it's likely we'll see another Snow victory here, although it's not over yet. There's still going to be the matter of stopping the upcoming attack from Royal. He is going to have 3 bases. He's going to have, you know, maybe 10 factories and 1 massive timing attack. But it's really only going to be the one. As after that timing attack takes place, if it doesn't end up working, at least enough so that he can get a 4th base online, he's going to mine out before he can put together a second massive army, or he can remax for a second time. So Royal is on a timer, and he knows it. Snow knows it as well. He's going to optimize his own production to make sure that he has just enough units to shut down this initial attack. Will he try to dive in and slow down Royal further? I don't think it's necessary, but he may try it. Looks like... What are these probes doing? Hello? All right, probes should be heading over to top right. There's a nexus being made in the top right. What is happening with these probes? That is a lot of lost mining time. Snow. Don't scare me like this, man. Put your probes onto the patches. Something's going wrong. Somewhere the wires got crossed in this game. He thinks that that's like a pack of zealots or something ready to bust this, but that is not the case. Slow push out here. Royal wants to take a little bit of a position. Still stacking his tanks up a little bit too much, I would say, though. Want to spread those babies out a little bit more. Oh my gosh, probes heading to top right, but there's still the matter of this big stack of probes sitting just to the north of our screenshot here. He's at 60, but he's got like 10 probes that are not mining. And these vultures may end up finding them. Oh my gosh. How funny would that be if Royal finds all of those probes with his... Okay, I think he just spotted it now. He just spotted it now. Snow realizes that he's got probes in the middle of the map. Those are not zealots. They're not dragoons. He's going to shove forward here. Getting on top of Royal's army, actually clearing out one tank, but trading 3 dragoons. Not the best. He needs more zealots with this force. Where is the zealot speed as well? That should be coming online here pretty soon. This is 5 base Protoss. With a base in the top right and the top left. There's the big round of zealots making its way forward. There should be so much production behind this, but maybe it hasn't fully come online here. I think he's shutting this down well enough, though. Royal is going to lose this army, and with that army, his hopes of winning this game are going to be kaput. He's trying to take center right as he pushes forward a little bit more. Sieging up the tanks, spreading them out a little bit better, but here comes another round of zealots, and there's only 4 tanks left. A great storm to initiate this attack, and this pushback is going to be successful. Another big kill there on some of these tanks, down to just 2 tanks. I don't think he'll be able to hold his natural or the third base with such a low number of forces. I think the idea from Royal was interesting with his initial attack into the natural from Snow. Pulling all the SCVs and trying to get a bunker push going. It made some sense, but Snow handled it beautifully. His early game control still unmatched. His Dragoon control, his Zealot and Reaver control is fantastic, and now it's just Vultures running around trying to deal some desperate damage, hoping that he can get something done, but probes come out and block this natural. Won't be able to do anything in this top left. There was only 1 cannon there, so he actually could have gotten a lot of damage had he managed to breach that location, but Snow's just not going to let that happen. Now some Vultures moving up here to try to defend this 4th, but it's such a scant defense. Only 3 tanks. 3 tanks here, and that means no tanks back in the natural. Snow's got the gateway count to max out very quickly now. And I'm surprised he's allowing this base to go down at all. It was floated from top center all the way over to center right. It's finally found its home over at that fresh 4th base location. Royal desperately needs that income because he's about to start mining out here. Zealot's shoving in towards the natural. He knows that a lot of those tanks were pulled over towards the brand new 4th, and that there won't be much back here at the natural to help defend. Zealot rally coming forward as the Dragoons and Zealots clear out everything. GG is inevitably called. Royal taps out. A difficult game there from a difficult start. Royal tried his best to get a push going and open up a position, open up an opportunity to take a 4th base, but the trades were not as good as he had hoped. Snow handling everything super well in that early game. Now going to be 2-1. I'm not sure what's going on with the graphic on the screen, but at least you can see who's won which map. There's 2 wins there, 2 W's on the side of Snow and 1 on the side of Royal. Again, a very new show here. We're working out the kinks still. Nick Hotz, what's going on, man? I'm reading the comments here between games. Dark Lightning. How's it going, my brother? Snow's eating Royal alive, yeah. I mean, this is kind of what we expect from Snow. He hasn't been performing quite as well. He hasn't been showing up even to KCM recently. But he's showing up here in the Duel Series, putting out some good games. And I imagine he's getting set up and warmed up for the SSL that will be coming out soon. As I talked a little bit about in the initial part of this cast, Snow is a family man. He's got kids. During the down season, the off season, probably not going to be practicing as much as a player like Speed. Definitely not as much as Speed. But he's getting into shape. He's kind of like a boxer or an MMA fighter who cuts down to weight and continues to train all year round, but really gets into peak performance when it truly matters. This is his job. He's a streamer. He's a professional Broodwar player. And so kids or not, he needs to perform when the moment comes, when the time is right. Moving out now to take a Nexus. To take that on 12 Nexus from Snow. Royal looking to do a similar greedy opening with a 13cc. That 13cc being dropped. That really evens things out with this 12 Nexus. And in fact, I would say Royal's still going to be... He's going to be feeling pretty good when he sees this Nexus first. Won't have to overly defend. He won't be scared of anything initially. And he's going to be able to match the macro greed of Snow. Interesting decision making on Dominator. Or not, sorry, Dominator. Deja Vu. That's what we're on. To open up with the CC first. Been having a little bit of a hard time. And so, getting a bit of an early economic edge might give him the confidence and the little boost that he needs to take down Snow like he did in game number 1. Or sorry, excuse me, game number 2. We got Snow here harassing the SCVs a little bit. A lot of them have been pulled. That one SCV very low on HP. The probe really doing its damage. Doing its job here. Slowing down the Terran player just that tiny little bit. Double gateway follow-up. Okay. This is very good for Royal. He's going to be with a big grin on his face as he comes in and sees what exactly has been made for Snow. He's even going to get to scout this range coming online. And so he knows the robotics will be a little bit later. Wants to stick around, make sure that that doesn't get canceled. Then a robotic gets started immediately. And it's looking to me like maybe Snow wants to hold off on making Dragoons and just make a Nexus. There it is. Okay, yes. Nexus on the way. So triple Nexus, going up to 3 Nexus before making a single attacking unit. He's only made workers so far. But he's doubling down on this greed. Would have been an even faster Nexus had he only made 1 gateway initially, but this is still a crazy fast 3rd Nexus. It's like 4-minute 3rd Nexus. This is all because of the opener from either side. A rare situation where both players open with CC and Nexus first, but here we are. Snow gonna try to take advantage the best that he can by dropping a very fast Nexus, and Royal spots that. He knows what's coming. What's his response? Is he going to drop a third CC? I don't know. I don't know what he thinks is going to be the best response to this. Is he going to go 5 factory? Just try to go and kill him? 6 factory maybe? So far 4 factories are on the way. Maybe he tries to take a third with 4 factory, or is he just going to try and gun it across the map, try to stop that third base from coming up? Here's the second gas now. The robo's done, but no observatory unless it's in the natural. I don't think it is. Prioritizing probes. He's starting to get ahead in that number now, as that third Nexus really kicks in. Clearing out these eggs. Opening up a better pathway into that natural, and it's going to allow him to defend a little bit more cleanly should there be a drop into his main. 3 tank push with 3 Marines right as these extra factories finish up and vultures start to get produced. He's probably going to rally straight up with vultures. No more tanks. Just try to push the fight here. Okay, 2 more tanks do pop out. I thought he would do double vulture upgrade and make only vultures while the tank's gonna hold the ground, but he's actually gonna push directly over here towards this third, setting up mines to the south of these army units. Oh, that mine is so big. Right before this fight comes in, he gets a massive mine connection. Observer was out of position to help to clear that, and now he's gonna push from this angle. I don't think I like this too much. Royal, why didn't he push from the north? Could have pushed from the high ground. Now he's pushing low to high and missing a lot of shots on these Dragoons. Another tank goes down, but 2 Dragoons also fall. This is a lot of stuff from Royal as he shoves forward. I don't believe he's got siege mode just yet, but it should be coming up soon. Okay, there it is. Siege mode on the high ground. Getting himself in a very nice position. There will be a shuttle coming out soon, but that's what the turrets are for. Turrets are going to be made intermingled with these tanks and vultures, and he's successfully cut off the third base from the natural. And so he's going to push up towards this third, and as he kills off some of these Dragoons, he's going to open up an attack path to start picking off a lot of these probes. Oh, that mine. So the mine not going to go off. The probes targeted down, but so many are falling to these vultures. This is an expertly executed push. Snow, the double down on greed was not sufficient. It did not work out for him. And it seems like Royal is just moments away from winning this game. He's ahead in supply. He's killed an enormous number of probes, and his position, just the position alone, puts Snow in a really bad spot. The high ground just outside the natural, with tanks, mines, turrets already set up as well. He's gonna dive. Try to drop on top of these mines, drag the mines in. But he only gets 3 zealots out, and the mine drags were not that great. Dragoons are going to try to run forward here, targeting down mines as they do. Jumping on top of these tanks. He's killed quite a few of them, but he's lost nearly the entirety of his army, and GG is called. Royal takes game number 4, tying up the series. Really impressive showing from him in this game, especially. Nice heads up play from him. And now we've got all tied up 2-2. That's what we like to see. The very first Soup Duel Series, best of 7. This is going to be coming to a conclusion here soon, but we've still got 3 maps Dominator and Minstrel are going to be key. It may not go all the way to Monty Hall, but Minstrel is such an interesting map. A very difficult one to maneuver your army around. Difficult to cover all the different lanes. First, we got to go to Dominator, though. This 3-player map. It's going to be so interesting. Between these games, I'm going to take a look at the chat. Cardiox asks, are you going to cast SSL 2 from Korea? Or part of it, like the round of 4 and finals? I am going to be casting all of the SSL with Starcast TV on the Starcast TV YouTube channel. I'm going to be co-casting with Shun as well, just like in the KCM. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do anything for the qualifiers just yet. Am I going to live from Korea? Nobody's doing it live anymore. I think Tastosis was the last ones to do it live, and they're now doing it online. Everyone's doing it online, but we are going to be doing... we'll have it out on the day. I believe it's going to be live. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work, as I've never done it before, but I will keep you guys updated on that SSL series as I get more information about it. I believe it's going to be live. It'll be the fastest English cast out there, for sure. I know that Starcast prioritizes speed. Try and get it out the moment that the SSL episodes are finished. And so it'll be either right as it's being played, or it'll be immediately after. And I'll probably be casting it on this channel, on the SCTV English channel, on Soup, and then it'll be uploaded to Starcast TV afterwards. So you can catch it here live, or you can watch it on YouTube later, depending on your time zone. It might be quite late if you're in North America. Now getting into our game number 4. Both players no longer willing to throw down those early expansions. Instead, going back to basics, opening up with gas builds and getting a factory. Plus, we're going to see a Dragoon made first here from Snow. Hasn't been opting for the early... Oh, wow, he lost the probe. Snow may be a little frustrated. Could be thrown off his game slightly after that last game. It's difficult to say, but you really rarely ever see Snow lose his first probe. Guy is so good at early game control, but he wanted to get some hits on that Marine, and Royal was very good with his stutter micro. It's so much harder to stutter micro Marines in Broodwar than it is in Starcraft 2, by the way. Extremely difficult. They often bug out as well. If you're trying to give them lots of inputs, sometimes they'll just get stuck, and then you have to hit stop in order to make them move again. So, really good control out of Royal. Putting a lot of attention on that early probe means he was able to pick it off. And now he's going to be moving out with this very similar push that we've seen before. This is not to go across the map, but just to open some space for the Vulture to get out and start to threaten a run by. You can see that Dragoon is moving around the left-hand side. He's expecting the Vulture to move that direction, and he wanted to catch it, put some damage on it as it moved out to the left. But actually, the Vulture's going to head to the north and just chill over at this base. If it got caught up there, it would probably take 3 or 4 hits from the Dragoon, but it's unlikely to be found over there at 12. Snow's just going to have to know that, well, that's somewhere on the map, and so he has to be careful. It could be heading towards this natural. A Citadel is about to finish up in Snow's main. He's going for a DT build. Oh, I don't know about this, guys. I know that playing outside of your normal way of playing, like trying something different or, you know, upsetting expectations with your build choices can be very good as a pro player, and it's should be part of every pro player's retinue. But this is wild. I don't understand why Snow would ever want to open DT when he's so good with the Reaver play. This guy is insanely good. We'll see if this completely throws Royal off, if he's just expecting Reaver. But I feel like he's been very cautious. He's always had really good defense in this series so far, and I don't know if we're going to be able to get any damage with this. If Snow will be able to get in there with the DTs or not. And if he doesn't get any damage, he's not going to have those Reavers to fall back on to make up for the deficit. That's what he's usually known for doing, is even if he falls into a bad position, even if he has a hard time and Terran seems to be ahead, the Reaver play is just so strong. Generally, he's going to be able to bring himself out of those bad positions with just pure, strong Reaver control micro, whatever you want to call it. Here comes the DTs now, and they've been spotted. There's going to be a shuttle out soon. I can't understand Royal pushing with this army. I think that'll be stopped. He's actually going to loop around. Oh, he's sending in the Dragoon. He's sending in the Dragoon to eat the mines. The mines go off. And now these DTs are going to be able to slip in. Well, DT thinking about going for the main, but there is a turret over there. Tries to bait some mines in. Well, this DT is stuck. That's kind of funny. It's actually on hold position, I guess. Should be attacking that SCV that was on top of it, though. Gonna have to go ahead and kill his own pylon to get out on the map, and this is not enough damage, guys. Royal has handled this really well. I think the plan was pretty cheeky from Snow to send that Dragoon in from that awkward angle and just eat the mines right as the DTs arrived so he could slip past. But like I said before, Royal has been really consistently good with his defense. And he's not going to skip a turret here. He's going to have that turret ready. Stargate coming up behind this is a pretty common way to transition out of a DT play, is to switch into Arbiter tech. Try to utilize the DTs to force out as many scans as possible, and then as the Arbiters come out, there's a real big lack of vision for the Terran player. And you can take a big fight, you can possibly win with that fight, but Royal is just gonna immediately take his third. I love it. This is a great idea from Royal. Instantly takes his third. He knows that Snow's army is very small. He doesn't have the Reaver to harass or do anything with. And so Royal gonna take his third with turrets. That means that, you know, if he was pushing right now, if he was trying to push, if Royal is trying to come across this map and kill Snow, there would be a small trickle of DTs coming out. Oh my god, this run by as well. Oh no, right up into the main base. He's gonna see everything. I mean, he could have just seen everything with the scout anyway, but he gets a probe kill. It's not too bad. That was well handled by Snow. I thought more damage was gonna come down there, but what I was trying to say, if there was a push coming from Royal, there would be a slow trickle of DTs coming out, just baiting out scans, and Royal would be pushing forward. Eventually an Arbiter would come forward, though, and he might not have the detection necessary. But in this case, Royal's just going to sit back, immediately take a third. He knows he has a great position. Time to get more ahead, get this third base up and rolling, and sit here with turrets. That way he doesn't need to burn scans, and he can get into a massive economy, get more ahead, and eventually he'll have His upgrade's really rolling. He'll have +2 on the way here momentarily, and he'll have the Science Vessel, most importantly, to provide that long-term detection, that consistent detection, and mobile detection that he needs to actually push through DTs and Arbiters. Meanwhile, double expansion here from Snow. He's trying to make up this deficit. He's now seen that there's a third base. He knows that Royal took that very early. Typical third base timing for a Terran. Around 11 minutes. We're almost at that point now, but he started this third base at like 8 minutes, guys. It's crazy how early he started that CC on location. So he's just boosted himself so far ahead in the curve of this game that Snow is gonna have a very difficult struggle trying to make a comeback. Now, I'm not counting Snow out by any means. This guy is an absolute beast, even when it comes to Arbiter play, although we don't get to see much of it out of him. Still just crazy strong Protoss player. Absolutely capable of taking down Royal, even from a little bit of a deficit. And so Snow is going to look to grab a 5th base pretty soon here. He has Stasis on the way as well, but Royal just getting the perfect setup back at home. He's got the +2/+1 on the way. I think we'll see a 2-1 push most likely out of Royal with about 10 factories. He hasn't taken his 4th base just yet. He'll be looking to do that soon. Probably behind the push as he's starting to push out, grabbing that 4th base. Waiting on Science Vessel and upgrades, though, before any of that can happen. Snow is continuing with just 1 Stargate Arbiter production. He's not really mining his 3rd gas. Prioritizing minerals as he pumps up that gateway count. Gets into the massive gateway count that he really needs to fight Royal as this game goes on. 56 supply. It's so close. Look at the supplies are incredibly close between these two players. Those upgrades are nearing completion. 160 supply already. Royal is just about ready to shove out. Is he going to go through the middle of the map? Or will he opt to rotate around the right-hand side or the left-hand side? I've seen a lot of different Terran players, and how they approach this map tends to vary a lot, but I think Light, one of the absolute best TVP players and one of the most respected Terran players in general, he tends to push through the middle. And I tend to agree with him. I think that that is a very good way to play, is just hold the middle and then branch out small groups of units around the map to start cutting off bases and setting up mines, doing counterattacks, that sort of thing. We'll see how Royal wants to do it. What kind of plan he has in mind for this game. Not that many factories just yet. Just 7 so far. But as his 4th base comes up, he'll definitely want to increase that number. Not a whole lot of room in the base there is left over. A lot of storms and spells are ready for Snow now. He's already got the Templar out. And he's been allowed to get away with a lot. Look at how much he's built in bottom left already. 63 probes is pretty impressive. He's going to have the ability to remake this army really quick. As he gets more gateways down the bottom left, that production capability will increase. Here comes a recall onto high ground. High ground base. EMP goes down on all the zealots, though, and it's mostly a zealot army. Now, it's going to be able to buy some time for Dragoons to come up here as well. Some Templar coming up also. If he gets Templar on this high ground, That'll be very dangerous. Great snipe there with the tank. Those 3 tanks immediately targeting down that important Templar. Storm there, very good. Lot of SCVs have gone down kind of in the background of this fight. 47 workers remain and another round of units making its way up here. Yes, the stasis is huge. Oh my goodness. Snow. I mean, he's definitely turned this around at this point. This is a great attack from him. The stasis doing so much work. I wonder if Royal left, you know, a big chunk of his army kind of defending that 3rd base. Would have benefited from bringing everything over here because Snow was very committed to making that work. Tanks getting in range. Looks like he'll have a pretty strong cleanup at the end of this fight. The stasis tanks are making a nice wall for him. And so the Zealots are mostly just dying on this side. Another stasis over here. I don't think that was the correct stasis, though. Maybe stasising up on the high ground so that he could kill these tanks on the low ground would have been better, but Snow taking what he can get with these stasis. He's gonna get some storms on the high ground. Okay, not bad. Keeping that under the Arbiter allows those 2 Templar to get their storms off. That was kind of cute. And he will keep that Arbiter alive for now. The Arbiter that went for the recall at 12 did get picked off, though, so Arbiter number is not getting too high just yet. There's only the 1 Stargate, as I mentioned. Takes a long time to produce Arbiters off of 1 Stargate. And to kind of get a critical mass where you always have some sort of spell to cast. He does have a little bit of stasis here. And he could go for a recall as well. Let's see if he goes for the stasis. Not the best stasis in the world, but it's going to block some tanks from moving. Actually, a lot of those tanks are just going to be able to slip past the stasis unit. Zealots coming forward. Trading out against these tanks. That's a lot of vultures, though, eating up the Zealots very quickly. Does he have another storm to drop on these Templar, or on these vulture? The vultures there are very stacked up, and they don't really have anywhere to run. So a snipe on that would be very good, or a storm on that would be very good, but he runs forward, snipes down the Templar once again. Still a good supply lead for Snow, but Royal is finally mining on 4 bases. He's moving rapidly towards his 3-2. In fact, he might already have it done. I haven't seen a click on a unit here for a moment. 2-1 still. 3-2 will be done soon, though, I imagine. Vultures catching a few Dragoons. Kind of an awkward position. Oh my goodness, a big mine connection there. He doesn't have an observer with this force. And so he ends up losing a bunch of Zealots there. He wants to try and contest that 4th base once again, but I don't think that's going to be possible. Royal surrounding this army and gunning it down as it tries to leave. He wants to head back home, but he's losing a big chunk of his supply, basically for free to mines and tanks, as they try to return back. This is excellent stuff from Royal. Now he can move directly towards the natural if he wants. Could also siege up, as the observer was showing, and hit some of those buildings in the main base if he so desired, but instead he's going to move towards the middle. I'm a pretty big fan of this. That stasis, kind of interesting, throwing that down right at the front of the army. Actually going to create kind of a wall for the Zealots. Makes it harder for them to get close to tanks in the back line. We haven't seen any really big EMPs go down, except the one that went on the Zealots earlier. These Arbiters, for the most part, have been able to avoid that. Ooh, there's the big EMP. Really good EMP there. He's coming forward now. Some Templar with Storm are going to land on these tanks. Storms, hugely efficient, and as the Zealots run out, Snow's going to back away, but a really reasonable trade, killing off a lot of tanks. And backing up Royal once again. Royal over in the top left now taking a base. Will Snow be able to get over there and potentially shut that down? A recall on an outlying base like that is so good, by the way. He spots it. Observer has seen that extra base. Now tanks are moving forward, looking to deny center left from Snow. Snow kind of running in, a lot of his zealots clumped. Oh, and that mine connecting with the almost the entire army, dealing a huge amount of damage and blasting this army away from his tank line. Snow still vastly far ahead in supply, still 30 supply up, but the gap is closing. Here comes a Arbiter. Oh, another big mine connection there. Royal sniping too many observers potentially, forcing Snow to maneuver without detection is really hurting him. Here comes a storm. None too soon. That EMP was well timed coming out. Get rid of the energy off of that important Templar. Arbiter gonna go up to the top left-hand corner and just kind of sit there, wait for some energy. Maybe come back in for another recall later if it's allowed. If Royal doesn't go up there and just continuously EMP that, he might have an opportunity. Arbiter here with almost enough for recall, definitely enough for stasis, but one stasis is not going to save this Nexus. So he will end up retreating. Royal is definitely at 3-2 by this point. And his army is going to start trading way better now. He's not able to take half the map, as this is a 3-player map, but he's got enough bases to take this extremely long. I don't know if he can force the mine out from Snow, but it's going to be close. Army making its way over here to top left. He's got to keep this base alive right now. That's a lot of zealots moving forward, and a great stasis there as the EMP goes down. I'm going to prevent these tanks over on the high ground from defending. A lot of SCVs are falling to the zealots. They go to work. Zealots are going to run forward now, try to take a trade with all of these tanks, but you can see it's getting worse. The trades are getting worse now for Snow. Does he have the critical mass, though, of bases, gateways, all that good stuff to just keep throwing stuff at the wall and eventually win? Another great stasis there at the back. That one works very well. It doesn't block the zealots from moving up onto the frontal tanks, and it gives the dragoons a little bit of cover. Pushing forward a little bit more seems kind of crazy, but he's gonna try it. Targeting down the turret there so that he could utilize the lack of detection, but immediate scan from Royal ends up shutting that down. Still 63 workers from Royal, even after all the damage he's taken, even after all the losses he's suffered over at this base. A lot of vultures dying to just these 2-3 dragoons underneath the Arbiter, but he finally does clear that out. We'll push Snow back for the time being. Snow rotating around towards the top right-hand side now. He wants to make sure that that base doesn't get taken by Royal, and maybe he wants to take that base for himself in the end. Center left is not going to work out for him, at least for the time being. Snow is moving up towards top center. Where's his Arbiters, though? Ooh, another brutal mine connection. There's the Arbiter moving around to this left-hand side. Wants to hit the 5th base once again. Big recall right in the mineral line. That's so painful. Big storm as well, hitting some of his own units, but clearing out an enormous number of SCVs. Only 52 remain as Royal brings the bulk of his army over here to try and defend. Are there other openings that Snow can start to abuse? He's still at 100 supply, or 200 supply, guys. Look at it. Look at his supply. I want to get a mineral check at this point. The snow must be getting a little bit low, but with this many bases online and this many gateways pumping, even after a recall gets entirely cleaned, he's able to keep his supply at max. And tanks in the middle of the map are going to be killed for free. Royal leaving those out. It's going to be a mistake there. 140 supply. Can he hold on? Not with a bunch of stasis coming forward. That's a critical mass of arbiters. It's taken a long time to get here, but Snow's been keeping them alive all game. And now he's got the 4 or 5 arbiters, a lot of them with energy, and he's shoving through with these stasis and storms. Able to get over here on top of the third, and I think we're just about out of time for Royal. 112 supply, again to the 200 of Snow. He's rallying everything forward, and he's going to be able to kill this CC. I'm glad we got to see a nice long game between Snow and Royal, but you can feel the presence of Snow, how powerful he is in the late game once he gets a lead. Even without his patented Reaver play, able to take down Royal here in game number 4. Bringing the score now to 3-2. Still not sure what's going on with the banner here. Snow versus Royal. We're going to get that W up on his side here for Dominator. Next map is Minstrel, guys, as we go to the chat. This game is amazing. Hell yeah. Broodwar and this series between Snow and Royal in general. Just great games. Snow's got him. Yeah, he did have him. He had him dead to rights at the end of that game. That's for sure. It was a little bit hairy there for a minute. Wasn't like he was guaranteed to win from the beginning. Once Terran gets onto 5 bases, it gets a little scary, but Snow had the right tools. He utilized them properly, and Royal allowed a few too many recalls to get off on his outlying bases. Now we're here, hopping in to game number 6. Match point for this man, Snow, spawning in the bottom right of Minstrel. And over here in the top left, it's Royal. Just about to get knocked out of this series. Got his tournament life or his series life on the line. That prize pool, that money that was supposed to be his, may be going into Snow's pocket. Certainly not the way he planned it. Royal's gonna do everything he can to bring this series back now. We've already got a probe heading across the map. That'll be for the gas steal. Probably loop around the right-hand side and slide in. No, he just goes straight for it. He has no qualms about going directly to this gas geyser. I'm gonna steal that right away and force Royal into a gasless first build. Unless he wants to pull a bunch of SCVs, and really, it's still gonna be a gasless fast expand either way. Oh, this SCV! Oh! Not a good way to start this 6th game, man. That is a tilter right there. He was getting the repair going on the SCV, but... oh gosh. A barracks out on the map. What is this? 2 racks play. We're all gonna bet it all. What is this, mini we're watching? This is not mini in a best of 7 in the SSL. We're watching Royal right now gamble it all away on a 2 racks. He's hoping that his opponent went for a Nexus first, and that he's going to be able to punish And Nexus first with this. Oh, nice snipe there on the probe, though. A lot of fancy micro out of Snow, but there's the Zealot. See, he was not expecting the Zealot. That you can be sure of. He was not expecting a Zealot there. He's still going to start making a bunch of Marines over at this other racks. He's going to try his best to fake like he's trying to get a CC out by starting the bunker here. He's really selling it to Snow, saying, okay, I'm gonna take a CC now, and then I'm gonna take a gas, and you better play normal. Oh, is he gonna run by? Oh, okay. Can't see any CC just yet. Does he suspect anything? It might be just a little bit slow. That could be the case. Pulling the Marines out. He's gonna start to push everything back. He's pulling the SCVs. I think the jig is kind of up now. Snow's seen a lot of SCVs getting pulled. And he's seen no CC just yet. Here we go. Gonna try and dive on top of these Marines. Putting himself into the corner. Does lose one Marine. More Marines are coming up from a flanking position. He's gonna immediately kill this Zealot. And start to push forward. The one other Zealot gonna flank around this, though. Gonna try to come from the rear. That must be a shield battery being made on the side of Snow. He needs it desperately. Great positioning on this bunker. It's really gonna make it hard for the Zealot to come out and deal with this. He's gonna target the Zealot in the back first. But this is a great surround. Oh my god, the Marines! Oh. Perfect surround there with the big clump of probes. Absolutely annihilating those Marines. They feel so strong right up until you get a surround on them. When they're in low enough numbers. Oh, it's not a shield battery. That's a cannon. Though he has called this out perfectly. Snow figured he might go for some sort of cheeky play. And opens up with the Forge. That is wild. Would not have expected the Forge to be coming down there. But he really did call Royal. Like he's read him like a book. You're not going for a gaseous fast expand, are you? You're just gonna do something cheeky, like a Marine all in. Looks like the probe's gonna sneak by. And he's gonna see no CC. Go up into the main. And, well, you can pretty much assume that he knows what's going on. With the lack of CC, there must be a gas. How will he respond to this? I'm surprised we didn't see Royal just stand out in front. Why doesn't he build a bunker just outside of range of the cannons and just hold the front? That seems a little bit interesting to me. He's going to build this factory way out on the map, so it stands to reason that putting a contain on the Protoss player would be strong. That way the tanks can just rally straight up over towards this natural. As it stands, though, now, we're going to have all these Marines come across. And that's a lot of Marines, by the way. That is a lot of Marines. They're going to come up to the front. One tank is going to be made, but I don't think the tank is even going to come out in time for this Reaver that's going to be coming up from Snow. Snow's going to have his Robo done soon. He will start his robotic support bay in a moment. All of these Marines, even if he throws all the Marines at the wall, I don't think he can break that. Just 2 cannons. It doesn't seem like a lot. These were all Hydras. Definitely, it's an easy kill on those cannons, but these are Marines, and they die insanely fast. 2 shots from a cannon, and he doesn't have stim or anything either. He's gonna make a tank, and he's gonna bet it all on one final attack. Here's that bunker, which I thought was gonna be coming down earlier, but there it is. He has the bunker in the front now. He's gonna look to break this natural. If this doesn't work, I think everybody understands that Royal is just gonna lose this game. There's the robotic support bay The Reaver's going to get started here in a moment. Once that Reaver's out, the Marines with no support are going to get absolutely destroyed. Utterly and completely by that Reaver. And so he needs to break this as soon as possible. 3 Zealots make it out on the map. That's a bit frustrating. The Zealots slide out, and they're going to be able to find a different location to start to hit. There's the tank sieged up. If he runs forward and just kills that tank, the game is also over. Because the second tank will only be out long after that Reaver. So he's going after the cannons, trying to kill them all. Get rid of all the cannons, and then maybe he can shove forward with these Marines. But he's going to have to be super careful as the Reaver comes out. Possibly another bunker at the front. Maybe builds one even closer and just bunker pushes his way in. 2 Zealots make their way forward. Here comes that Reaver. He's gonna have to target that down. Reaver, he loses one of the tanks. There's the second tank going down, and I think this is just about it. The Reaver shot there is gonna get insane damage. Oh, it actually duds. Interesting. That Reaver shot does dud. Kind of a wacky game to end on, guys, but I think Snow's got this. I think he's just about close this out. There's still options here for... No, there's not really options. What am I saying? The only option is to keep shoving. That's really the only thing that he can do. He's gonna try to kill this. Oh my gosh, finally that Reaver hit does connect. Would have been better to just let the Marines tank that instead of allowing the Scarab to come forward and actually hit the tank as well. But hey, it is what it is. He tried his best. I think Royal did a little bit better than some of us would have been expecting. Able to take this all the way to game number 6 against a powerhouse like Snow. Of course, Royal is an SSL winner from the past, whereas Snow does not have an SSL title yet, but just the matchup between Terran versus Protoss, Snow is such a god. He wins on Minstrel, and he wins this best of 7 series, guys. That is the end. Thank you so much for watching. I'll take one last look at the comments. GG. Nick Hotz. Dark Lightning. Guys, thank you for being here. Igloo Pilot. Love Snow. A Cardiox. Really appreciate all you guys coming out and supporting the stream. Big shout out A Cardiox for the first gifted subs. He gifted 5 subs in the channel. Big support for this series. And guys, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to get in here and support on Soup. They're the ones who organized and paid for this tournament. And they're letting us, the English community, join in on what should be an absolutely epic series. So big shout out to Soup as well. And that is it, guys. We'll see you in the next one.